What's up, guys? How's it going? So today I wanted to make a video about a topic. So I wrote some stuff down the other night about videos I wanted to make for the channel, and one of them was best budget knives for under $50. I know there are tons of YouTubers who in this space that do knives like best budget for under 100, best budget for under 200, whatever, 75, whatever. Now, obviously, everybody has a different opinion, different understanding, or different frame of reference, not opinion or understanding, different frame of reference for budget, right? I think that a fair budget is $50. $50 is a lot of money to spend on a knife, especially for somebody who's, more so for someone who's not really in the knife EDC scene. And so I wanted to make this video as more of an entry, so to speak, for those who might be they're looking for a knife, something decent, something that'll last them a while. It's quality materials, but it really won't break the bank. There's one knife on my list that exceeds $50, but it's only by $2. Granted, you factor in shipping and tax and whatever, it'll probably be a little bit more than that, but I tried to make sure that all these knives on this list are from highly reputable brands. They all have different deployment systems, they all have different blade steels, and they all appeal, or will, or hopefully should appeal to different audiences as far as aesthetics go. There's also a bunch of color variants offered for a lot of these, except for I think one of them on this list. But that's the idea. A budget to me is below $50. That's budget, right? I feel like $50 for, like I said, for people who aren't in the EDC space, who maybe they don't have a ton of money to spend on a knife. $50 is a lot of money, regardless of how you look at it, right? $50 is a night out at a decent restaurant. $50 is what you could spend on getting oil for your car. $50 is a good chunk of food for groceries, depending on where you shop, obviously. So anyway, so first item on this list, as you guys can see on the screen, is the Kershaw Collateral. So it is an assisted opening knife. It's got steel scales with a nice carbon inlay, and the back side of it, as you can see, is a liner lock, or not liner lock, sorry, a frame lock. The knife, again, is a spring assisted D2 blade steel, D2 being that it's highly corrosive resistance. It'll hold an edge for an incredibly long time. They are harder to sharpen. D2 is a harder steel, so when you do have to sharpen it, it will take longer to sharpen it, but it will hold an edge for a very long time. It's just a good it's D2 is basically a tool steel. It's a good working steel. It's incredibly reliable. It's very budget friendly. It's pretty forgiving. I think usually HCR for D2 is like 57 to 60, somewhere in there, maybe 61. Obviously depends on the manufacturer and their heat treating process, but that's generally the gist of it, right? But I put this knife on the list because it's $30 for D2 for steel scales and to get carbon inlay on a frame lock with a reversible pocket clip. So if you don't like the pocket clip on the right side, you can flip it over to the left side. But like I said, the two big elements, or I should say three big elements, were the D2 spring assist or opening assist, and the fact that it's also a frame lock. Most of the other knives on my list are not frame lock. They're kind of a mixture of liner lock or button lock, whatever, but I think this is the only frame lock on the list. Again, Kershaw is a great brand, very reliable. They make a fantastic array of knives, everything from super budget. I think they have like a $10 knife you can get. I think it's like 4CR 14 steel, which is like, it'll hold an edge, but it's like very budget steel, so it'll dull very quickly, but it's very, very easy to sharpen. And I think their treatment of the blade steel will keep it from rusting. I think they put a PVD coating over it, etc. So but anyway, Kershaw, great reputable brand. For this, again, this is a video for people who are I would say newer to the EDC space and are looking for budget knives, or maybe are thinking about getting into knives but they're not really sure. Either or. And again, this is my opinion, right? Everybody's gonna have a different opinion. I sell knives, I use knives every single day, I use different knives, I have a wide variety of knives and blade steel in my collection, everything from 3CR13 steel up to Magna Cut M390, S30V, etc. So yeah, anyway, so I will say the only downside to this knife, to this Kershaw Collateral, is it's discontinued through Kershaw, so you're gonna have to find it online. But aside from that, is an excellent knife. D2, assisted open, quality handle materials. If you take care of it, you don't do anything stupid or ignorant with it, it'll last you a very, very long time. Okay, so next we're gonna move on to the next one on the list, which is the QSP Penguin. So QSP is another manufacturer. I should probably go back 1 second. Kershaw is a American manufacturer, but all of their knives are manufactured in China, except any knife that says Ken Onion design on it is a knife that is manufactured within the US. I just want to put that out there. So for those of you who are getting into the EDC space and maybe they've seen Kershaw knives before, and you see that little bit printed on the knife blade, Ken Onion design, anything that has that is a American made, American produced knife. Kershaw, like I said, it's an American brand, but a lot of their knives are made overseas, whereas Ken Onion is a American made, American produced. But Ken Onion design knives are generally pretty expensive. Their lowest budget knife, or I should say lowest price point knife, is around, I think, 80 bucks. But anyway, okay. Just wanted to cover that real quick. I know that was just a little sidetrack, but anyway, moving on. So QSP. QSP is a Chinese brand. They've been around for quite some time. I don't have an exact, time frame of reference, but they're a very reputable brand in the EDC space. They make some fantastic knives. The quality, fit and finish is spectacular. They make everything from $25 knives all the way up to $200, $300 knives. Actually, I think, I'm trying to think, do they make $200 knives? They might not have any $200 knives. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I know for sure they have $100 knives. Actually, no, they probably do have $200 knives. Yeah, I'm wrong, because they have the more premium Penguin line, and they have what else do they have? The Gerb, the Vault. Yeah, so yeah, they have the more premium end of the knife lines, but a lot of their premiums are the lower end knives with higher end materials. So you'll have like this QSP Penguin, which on the screen here is D2. It's D2 micarta scales. Micarta is kind of like a jean material, if you're not familiar with it. It's smoother than jeans, how jeans feel on your fingers, but it's basically, I would assimilate it to like jeans, like hardened jeans, like pants. And then these are liner locks. So the higher end brand, or the higher end models, are like CPM 20. I'm trying to think. I don't think they use. They might use M390, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go look. I'm trying to not get off topic, but long story short, QSP, very reputable brand, very good. They have great entry points for knives. fit and finish is fantastic. Pretty sure the customer service is great as far as I know. The packaging is nice. The knives feel like they're quality made. I have quite a few of them. Matter of fact, I have a QSP knife right here. This is the Nebula. Is a higher end knife. This is about a $90 knife, but I have a Penguin. I actually don't know where it is. I think it's either in my car or it's downstairs in my workshop, but I got a Penguin as like one of my first knives from them, and it's probably one of my favorite knives. So you really can't go wrong with the Penguin. But anyway, I'm ranting and rambling and digress. So it's liner lock, micarta scales, D2 blade steel, so same blade steel as the Kershaw. And I would say from personal preference, from personal use between the two, because I've used them both, I would say that the Penguin is lighter, just based off materials, compared to the Collateral. The Penguin is also a manual, so when you go to open it, it's thumb stud deploy only, and whereas the Collateral is a flipper tab and assist opening, so it's got a spring. So when you hit the flipper tab, the blade will shoot directly open. Whereas the Penguin is manual, so you have to flick it open yourself. These are always generally in like the $30 price point, roughly. Like I said, if you're they go up in price point based on materials. So, but Penguin is another great, I would say, option if open assist doesn't really do much for you, and maybe aesthetics aren't really there for you for the Collateral, Kershaw Collateral. Yeah, I wish I had more to say. Like the Penguin is just a great budget option. Reversible pocket clip. All the scales, you can probably swap all the scales out for Penguins. So if you do in the future get a different Penguin and you want those scales on another Penguin you have, you can swap the scales out. So that's kind of neat. All right, moving on. Let's see here. Moving on to the Remet Rhino. So this knife made some waves in the EDC community for a number of reasons. One, I think it was one of the first knives in the price bracket of having 14C. There's a version of it that has 14C. I think this version has D2, based on what it says here. But there's a version of it that has 14C. I believe it retails for $50. Let me double check here. Let me see if I can just search it through Blade HQ. See if I can find it. They should, no, they only have the D2 versions. But there is a version that I believe it retails for 50 or 55. Anyway, moving forward. Anyway, these knives were kind of, they made waves because of the price point for 14C at the time. I think it was like $45 for 14C, which is kind of like unheard of. I could, of course, be wrong on that statistic, going off of memory. But also, in general, this knife has multiple deployment methods, which is something that if you're a big fidget person, and you're naturally, you always have something in your hand, a pen, I don't know, a coin, whatever maybe. You're someone who naturally likes to fidget, this knife is probably for you. It's a button lock, it's a front roll. You can reverse flick it, so if you're holding the knife, here, I'll show you. So if you're holding the knife like this, right, you can reverse flick it that way. And then you can also just open it the normal way with your thumb, like that. This isn't a Rhino, but I'm just demonstrating. And then obviously you can front roll it. So, and front rolling is, most blades have a little extra material at the top here for leverage, and you can just push up and front roll it. But the Rhino itself is a very, I have one in my truck, and it's very fidgety. They're fantastic knives, honestly. Whether you get the D2 variant or you get the 14C variant, they're like, the 14C, I'm pretty positive is either at $50 or maybe slightly over $50. I know that kind of, I'm sort of drifting off here by not having something like that on the screen, but if you're interested and you don't mind paying a little bit more for 14C over D2, 14C is just better. 14C provides better toughness and corrosion resistance. I mean, D2 is in the same boat, but 14C is, you know, higher in that regard. And it's just really hard in the current knife market to get 14C lower than like 30 bucks, 40 bucks, I think. I could have sworn that, let me look at my other monitor and see. Met Rhino 14C 20. Let's see if I can find it. Does Knife Center have it? No, Knife Center just has the D2 variant. Okay. All right, so on Remet's actual website, I'm gonna pull this over here for you guys. So on Remet's actual website, it's currently sold out. So I'm not making a fool of myself. I might have made a fool of myself. It's whatever. Forgive me if I've stated anything wrong. I'm just going off of memory, but again, the Rhino did make waves. It's, you know, an outstanding knife. It was just at the price point, what it offers material wise, yeah. You can get one for over $55. Obviously they're out of stock right now, but you certainly can. So I mean, it's only $5 above the price point that I have, under 50 bucks. So if you're willing to splurge that extra $5, it's worth it. But regardless, even if you don't want to do that and you just want to go with the D2 variant, just as good. D2, 14C, both great choices. Okay, next on the list. Let's see. This is the Vostede Raccoon Cub. I've never personally used one of these before, and you're probably wondering, well, why are you making a video if you've never personally used them? I've had Vostede before in inventory. I own 2 Vostede myself, so I can attest that the brand and the quality is fantastic, regardless of what knife it is. So I'm vouching for them based off of just past experience. But this is obviously on the very edge of our price bracket of $50, being $49, and then you include tax and shipping, it's over $50. But it's also very difficult to find stuff that falls perfectly within that price range without going over too much. I did my absolute best to adhere to it. I truly did, but you know, I figured a little bit of wiggle room is okay. But the reason I chose this specifically is, one, Vostede is just highly renowned, highly sought after as far as EDC knives. They just continue to put out remarkable products. Their fit and finish is fantastic. Like I said, the products feel quality. I have a Vostede Corgi here. It says a Trek Lock. So Trek Lock was designed by one of Vostede's engineers, and it basically makes the knife very fidgetable. So the way a Trek Lock works is it's the bottom of the blade here is flat, so you can fidget with it, right? But it's a C. So imagine where that button is, it's a C. and the button rests in the middle of it. So it's almost like a perfectly balanced anchor, so to speak. So they were the ones that introduced the Trek lock. They've also introduced a V anchor lock, which is just another like interesting innovation in the EDC world as far as locking methods and things to play with. So the company is they're just making waves as far as I know I said making waves a bunch. They're highly innovative, and they're always pushing the envelope, whether it's design, comfort, the feel, the quality feel of the knife. And so I felt the Vosteed Raccoon was just worthy being put on this list because, one, you have some fidgetability with the front roll. You have a nice front roll here, so for people who have never had a front roll, they can be pretty fun. Some people aren't a huge fan of them. It really depends on the knife. Sometimes I even mess up the front roll, but it's got a front roll. It's also got the thumb studs. You can deploy it with the thumb studs. So a very fidgety knife if you want something to fidget with, but also though it's designed to be incredibly ergonomic, incredibly functional. You have this choke up point, and just overall it's made of G10, so it's going to be incredibly grippy. That choke up point is really going to help you. You have this jimping here at the back of the blade, on the spine, and at the further front of the blade of the spine. So if you have a big hand, you don't have to worry about this knife being a problem for you to use. But again, I'm purely recommending this off of the fact of Vosteed's reputation. They just all the knives that they put out are quality, and I never hear anything bad about them. And on top of that, they're incredibly innovative. They've innovated two locking mechanisms, maybe three. The Trek lock and the V anchor lock. I think there's another lock they innovated on. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay. So that was 4 knives so far. So you have 4 different knives. Sorry, 4. I can't count. 4 different knives. Most of them are all the same blade steel. So all of them are D2, except for the 14C. Or if you think about the Rhino, the other variant of the Rhino. So I showed you the D2 variant, but there's also the 14C variant, which is a little more expensive. There's one more knife on the list that is, again, a smidge over budget, but I think it's worth it. And it brings something else to the table. It brings another element to the table that, as far as appearance goes and functionality and whatnot, it's just another option. So without further ado, a flipper tab liner lock. So you deploy it via the flipper tab. I think you might be able to Spidey flick it with the Fuller, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. I have one in inventory, and I think I've been able to do it. Basically, if you don't know what Spidey flicking is, it's when you have your finger on the blade like this, and you do that. You do that Spider-Man, like Spider-Man flick. But this blade is Nitro-V. Now, Nitro-V is... I wouldn't say Nitro-V is necessarily as good as D2 or 14C. It's got its high points. Let's see. Because I don't remember off the top of my head. So, Nitro-V is better choice for general use due to its superior corrosion resistance and toughness, making it more suitable for moist conditions and less prone to chipping. D2 offers better edge retention for demanding tasks like industrial use, but it's more more susceptible to corrosion and chipping. So there's a difference between Nitro-V and D2. And then 14C is just like the big brother to D2, basically, if you want to compare it like that. I'm sure someone can nitpick me on that if you'd like, but that's more or less what it is. But Nitro-V is just like another like slightly different entry-level blade steel. It's good. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also not like exuberantly amazing. You know, it's not like 154 cm or VG10 or anything like that. But it is a different blade material option on this list, where all I have is, you know, D2, 14C, all that stuff. Now, before I continue, obviously, as you can see, the knife is $52.05. Obviously, with tax and shipping, it's going to be over that. But I think that the knife is worth that, especially if this is going to be a knife you use every single day, or you're going to carry on your person every day. Civivi makes, again, Civivi is in the same boat as, you know, Vosteed, Remet, QSP, etc. Fantastic brand, highly reputable, great products, great fit and finish. You just really can't go wrong with them as far as the quality of their products and the price points. I will say this: Civivi is the budget version of We Knife. So We Knife is the like higher end version of Civivi. You could think of it as like Lexus is the higher end version of Toyota. Think of it in that regard. Civivi is all about bringing in budget, bringing in really innovative knife designs, and sometimes locking mechanisms with budget-friendly pricing. So there's that. Yeah, I think that about covers it all. I'm trying to think if there was an honorable mention. I don't think I still have it up, do I? The honorable mention was the SRM Cub, which is a 154 cm with G10 scales. It's an axis lock. It's an honorable mention because it was way outside the $50 price range. I think they normally retail for like $70, somewhere in there. 70, 73, something like that. It's an honorable mention though, because normally getting 154 cm steel below, you know, at $50 or below is like next to impossible, and getting something that low, you know, at the $70 price range is pretty impressive, considering most times 154 cm is, you know, you're looking at the $100 and more price bracket. So it was an honorable mention, at least in my mind. Let me see if I can pull it up and show you guys. Let's see. Cub. Yeah, $69. There you go. So, yeah. But honestly, for $69 as an honorable mention, you can't go wrong. 154 cm and G10 with an access lock, it's just, you can't go wrong with that. That's fantastic. SRM is a Chinese brand, but again, they're another really really good reputable brand, high quality fit and finish, great materials. So yeah, I think that pretty much concludes this video. My GoPro is running out of memory and battery at the same time. Again, this is my list. I just want to reiterate, this is my personal list. This is just from like knives I've dealt with and handled, brands I've dealt with and handled, and I specifically wanted to do my absolute best to stick to $50 and under. I will say this as a quick side note: I did not put anything on this list, obviously, that was 3 CR13 steel up to 8 CR13 steel. Not that it's bad. It's just, if you're going for something budget oriented and something of quality, I just didn't see a point in putting 8CR or 3CR or anything like that on the list when you have D2 and 14C that are just far superior. Generally, even Nitro-V, far superior to those. I'm not saying they're bad, because I have 8CR 13 Mauve knives, I have 3CR 13 knives, but it's more so edge retention's kind of and they require a lot of sharpening. And a lot of people, if you're going to buy a knife, don't really want to do knife maintenance. They don't really want to sharpen their knife all the time. So all these blade steels don't really require a lot of care. I mean, obviously don't do anything super ignorant, but they don't require like a ton of sharpening and whatnot. You definitely have to sharpen them eventually, but yeah. Again, my opinions, this is just meant to help those who are looking for budget friendly knives, $50 and under. I'm sure maybe in 6 months my opinion will change. Who knows? Anything's possible, right? The knife market's ever changing. Companies are ever innovating. Materials are getting cheaper. Yeah, etc., etc. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. I had fun doing it, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Stay hydrated, eat some good food, and be kind to each other. Stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you later.